I'm just not intelligent or funny or happy that this exists. Once the recess bell had rung, we had made a run for it. Sam was to be checked in at the office every break to see how he was going along. Wait, 3 periods before recess? That's wrong. Luckily, after all this speculation, we had devised a very simple plan of escape from the people. We would just hang around A block, the block where the office is, so as not to waste time. It didn't work. We were surrounded by this time. I couldn't shout out because people were still in class and we were in the block where the deputy was. I couldn't risk it. Luckily, again, the deputy herself came and saves the day. Saved. Not present tense, in past tense writing. Saved the day by asking us to go to the office. No one dare get on the deputy's wrong side, but when you were on the good side, it seemed like you were getting special treatment. This is all actual experience that I had with the deputy because I had the worst experience with her. She made me cry twice, and because I may not have handed in an assignment for 26 weeks. We headed towards the office without any disruption or intervening. Maybe the other sentence didn't use all of my vocabulary, just the majority, but now I'm pretty sure we've sufficiently capped on my dictionary. We were free, for now. I'm really enjoying these brackets. From everyone's questions, and so it was easy as pie to get checked up on. I never used the term easy as pie. Why did I suddenly think this was the time to use it? If only it was so simple when it came the time for non-needed embarrassment. We came to sit down with the group. There was Lizzie, Carrie, Hazel, Ellis, and obviously Sam, but no sign of Rachel. Oh well, at least for the moment of when I was saying it. Where's Rachel? Here. I happen to be here, she said matter-of-factly. Anyway, have you heard the news? There was a pause. I knew there were only 2 possibilities. She was talking about how she was going to go on another holiday, or the one I would have regretted listening to, that there was a new guy called Sam at school. I knew it was going to be the regretful one. We all knew it was going to be the regretful one. Megan, there is a new guy at the school called Sam, and I saw him. He's so hot. He really wasn't, she said as she was sitting down. No one wanted to point out anything because we thought it would be funny if she just kept talking. I hear he's in the year above us and is here for some exchange. He's from New Zealand, you know. Somehow thinking that knowing everything about this guy was supposed to be fun. Actually, I think knowing everything about people is fun. I hear that he had to be rescued by the... She was cut short by the amount of humiliation, surprise, and feeling of opportunity. I could just hear a faint hi, because knowing her, this... Why did I use a semicolon there? I'm getting all huffy about punctuation the further I get into this, because it's the only thing that I can be critical of and seem intelligent. Knowing her, this was her way of dealing with embarrassment. That's just normal. Yeah, that's right, Megan. People can be normal. You're just not one of them. So now, knowing that she knew that Sam was only 10 feet away from her, we don't measure in feet. I introduced her, trying to hide the amusement in my voice. Rachel, this is Sam Cook, as you kindly told us. He is an exchange student from New Zealand and is in the year above us. What you may not have known is that we met each other 6 months ago in Fiji. Or... I was a bitch. Hi, he said kindly with a touch of amusement, which I had tried to hide. Hi, my name is Rachel Bay, if you didn't already know. Oh, actually, Melrose told me a lot about you. What exactly did she say? I could hear the flirt in her voice, and for some reason I started to become angry with her because of that. But I didn't know why. Of course you know why. You like him. You knew you liked him. Everyone can kind of tell if they like someone. Except me. It took me 10 months, but I got there. And then I regretted getting there. I mean, she's really nice, beautiful and intelligent, but somehow her voice sounded scheming and I didn't like it. But I knew it was probably because I was paranoid about her hurting him. But again, why? Do you want me to answer it? Is this an interactive book? Oh, that'd be cool. In the time I was in another world, Rachel had struck up the subject of relationships. I wonder why. Haha. I said haha in my story. And they started talking about whether or not they had a boyfriend or girlfriend. Suddenly snapping out of my trance, I managed to come back in time for Sam to answer the question. But again, why? That's not actually there, but I feel like that's implied. No, I don't actually. I used to, but not anymore. But in a way, we weren't even really together. It was one of those relationships that you're only in it because everybody else wanted to be. Yep, I just relate so strongly. Well, Rachel said, again with a flirt in her voice, I don't have one either. We would make quite a couple, wouldn't we? That is the worst flirting ever, but slightly accurate to the 12-y flirt. That's the level of sophistication we can expect from the 12-year-olds of this day. The fact that she said full words is probably the best that we're really gonna get out of them. Actually, I know for a fact that Melrose doesn't have a boyfriend either. Isn't that? He looked at me in a way that almost said help, but didn't, because it was a look. Lol. But I still knew what to say anyway. Yes, so for what you were saying, me and him would make a good couple as well, which is impossible as it is that my brother would be suited to him. That would be a plot twist. What if my brother ended up with him? As I was saying that, he began to look relieved and Rachel frustrated. More because I was quick-witted enough, emphasizing enough just to make sure that I wasn't showing off for anything. To find many problems with her statement / question. Rather than that, I cut off Sam. But I know that in different circumstances, she probably would have been. I actually don't know what that meant. After the silences that I had caused when saying my argument, she simply smiled and said, "Oh, stop with the S's." That's what she should have said. Well, I may know for a fact that your brother isn't that interested. How would you know? I said with a giggle, but she obviously didn't notice. Maybe because she had been itching to tell me, but I am sure that it was because she wanted to tell me when there was a cute guy involved, even though we were not fighting over him. Oh yeah, and there's other people sitting around and they're just mute, apparently. I don't know if they actually talk. I just introduce these characters and then they literally just don't exist. They're just there. They're just like a statue, a mantelpiece. They're just there for aesthetic reasons. She had done this once before, and once before she was completely wrong about it. About a year ago, we went to the shops, mainly to get something for I was about to say a funeral. About a year ago, we went to the shops mainly to get something for a friend's birthday. On so many occasions when we went to the mall, we had a quarrel about going to the library. Because I'm not like any other girl, I like the library. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a guy came up to us asking what the shouting was about. We had seen this guy before at the BBC, Beach Boys Campus, and the SGC, Sandy Girls Campus Dance. I could just say Beach Boys, Sandy Girls Dance. Like, don't need to make it any longer than it needs to be. While she was explaining that she didn't want to go to the library because she had no money, which I had explained wasn't needed, but she still persisted on the argument. When I said intelligent earlier, I wasn't including books into it. That's not a lack of reading. It's just she probably just doesn't lack money. When I told him that it was a useless argument that wasn't necessary, it struck one of her nerves. She thought I was flirting with the guy. Never! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. This is like a diary entry for things that didn't happen. She said to me, "If you ever steal a guy away from me, I won't trust you any more than I can throw you." And to be honest, that scared me because she couldn't throw me at all. Lol. Everybody's a bitch. This is just really bitchy. It's life. Colin. It's filled with bitches. She, at that very moment, found the perfect opportunity to tell me something, and since it was in front of the guy she thought I was going to steal, it was time to throw the bombshell. Guess what? What? Saying reluctantly, because knowing her, it was going to be completely humiliating. Like how I don't use commas, like a paragraph beforehand, and then I use too many commas in one sentence. I use about 4 there. That guy you liked, he asked me out, but turned me down. He's not my type. What a surprise, because she's a bitch, if you didn't know. No, this is based on a person I actually knew that I was friends with. I based this character on her because our relationship was slowly, like, crumbling, and so the further you get in, the worse she becomes. This did get on my nerves, but not enough, because what she didn't know was that guy I liked actually got dared to do that by me. She was the first girl he saw. The only reason it got on my nerves was because she tried to use it against me. I think that should be the thing that gets on your nerves. That's a really bitchy thing to do, like dare someone to ask someone out. Like that's just mean. It wasn't over though. The guy who we were fighting over was witnessing something that made Rachel dislike me for 3 weeks. The guy was about to say something that would have made this conversation a lot less embarrassing, but Rachel had to cut him off. I know what you're gonna say. Oh, I haven't given him a voice. Are you sure? That's a surprise. I don't even know what that is. Yes, I would love to. Love to do what? Go out. At that very moment, I felt like hitting my head against a wall, and I think she did too. No, actually, I was just gonna introduce you to my girlfriend, Michaela. After that, all I remember is Rachel turning scarlet. Ooh, scarlet. And walking off. We never talked about it again, but at this time I thought necessary to say it so it didn't happen again. You don't want to... Asked your brother out, but he said he wasn't too interested. I suddenly went red. Not scarlet, not quite to that level, but not with humiliation, with rage. I had told the entire group not to get involved with my brother, because he was reserved for Sam. He was 2 years older than all of us, and I had gotten a lot of feedback on how he was attractive. I had to keep my cool, but I think Sam noticed I was exploding and he jumped in just at the right time. Well, you probably did it as a joke. Anyway, he turned you down, so there's nothing to talk about, really. I was saved, and at that very moment of triumph, the bell went and we left. Sam and I had to head to the office to ask what was needed of us. While we were heading there, I decided to say thanks. Thanks for helping me back there. I would have probably exploded. Yeah, I was frightened about that. We both laughed the rest of the way to the office. I think for a bit longer than that. Oh, it was just so funny. Sorry, this is a really deep bit that's just like super meaningful. For the rest of the day, we just were. And that was how I liked people to be. You feel comfortable not saying anything for hours. You just have to be. And that's what life's about. And like Megan not saying anything for hours isn't a thing. Out of nowhere, Sam suddenly said something that sort of surprised me. How many S's do you need? Sort of surprised me, but because we hadn't said anything for ages. You wanna go somewhere together for lunch on Saturday? Where did this come from? I'll explain later, but what's your answer? Okay, but there better be a good explanation. Like, we're friends and I'd like to have lunch with you because I don't have any at the moment. Oh, believe me, there is. After that we simply walked, and that was all. For now. Here we are again, at the end, luckily. Have a great day, everyone watching this, and I hope I made you feel better, because that's what this is for. This is to cheer people up and to make people happy, so Llama says bye. All the other chapters were 1 page, right? Or like 1 to 2 pages. This one is 5, so like it's gonna go for, I don't know, 5 times maybe. I was about to be like, how many 1s going to 5?